Hello, welcome to another virtual program. My name is Miss Neva, and today we're doing Dip into Nonfiction. It's a series that we have created to feature a lot of our nonfiction books. We have a great collection here at the library, and today is so exciting because I get to blend both of my passions. One passion, librarianship. Love it, very passionate about it. Other passion, dance. I love dance. I love movement. I love being able to share my passion of dance with children and adults alike. So today I get to share with you a book of a person that drew beautiful artwork about dancers, Degas, and this book is called Degas and the Dance. And it is very long, so I apologize. This video is longer than how I would like, but this book is beautiful. So I'm going to stop talking and share with you the book. Degas and the Dance by Susan Goldman Rubin. As the young girls adjusted their toe shoes and warmed up at the bar, Edgar Degas studied them. Back in his studio, he made many drawings of the dancers in their silk tights and long gauze skirts. People call me the painter of dancing girls, he said. During his long career from 1855 to 1905, Degas created more than 1,000 dance pictures. He learned that ballet training was very much like studying art. It took hard work and hours of practice. Degas drew the same poses again and again, just as the dancers repeated their positions and steps again and again. One must repeat the same subject 10 times, 100 times, said Degas. Nothing in art, not even movement, must seem like an accident. His group of fellow artists, the Impressionists, liked painting outdoors. With dabs of color, they captured the changing effects of sunlight on people and things. Not Degas. He spent day after day indoors observing at the Paris Opera and painting in his studio. Young dancers were known as Petits Rats, little rats, because of their hard life. They studied and practiced every day, hoping to become ballerinas, someday earning a living. Most of them are poor girls doing a very demanding job, said Degas sympathetically. In class, toe shoes tapped the wooden floor as the girls practiced rond de jambe and frappe and attitude and arabesque, and again and again and again. When they stopped to rest, Degas could almost feel how tired they were. He captured their gestures, stretching, yawning, rubbing their aching feet. Bonjour, Monsieur Degas, called the Petits Rats as they scampered to rehearsal room. He observed the girls rushing up and down the stairs. Later, remembering what he had seen, he made many drawings. Sometimes the dancers came to his dusty, messy studio. Degas, wearing a long smock over his suit and tie, posed them on platforms set up around the room. Get used to drawing things from above and below, he reminded himself in his notebook. Degas understood ballet steps so well, he would often hop around the room, mimicking an arabesque or a pirouette. It really is very funny to see him, said the writer who visited him. In this studio, Degas enjoyed talking to the girls and listening to their gossip. Degas found them all charming, treated them as if they were his own children, excused everything they did, and laughed at everything they said, recalled another friend. Degas stretched and drew models in his studio, but he waited until he was all alone to start a painting. He often used many of his drawings when he was composing a new painting. He would copy figures from several drawings onto one canvas to create a scene showing a group of dancers. If the work was going well, he would hum an old tune or sing an aria from one of his favorite operas. Sometimes Degas invented his own costumes for his paintings. In the classroom, the dancers really wore plain white skirts and tops, but he added yellow and pink sachets and black throat ribbon. He needed the accent of color. Once, when Degas was giving art lessons to a friend's son, he told the young student to paint the whole canvas in a tone of a single color, perhaps gray or brown. You put a little color on it, a touch here, a touch there, said Degas, and you will see how little it takes to make it come to life. All the time he started painting dancers, at about the time he started painting dancers, Degas had begun having trouble with his eyesight. He had gone to an eye doctor and bought a pair of blue tinted glasses to protect his eyes from the sunlight. From that point on, he was frightened that he would go blind. But Degas forgot to worry about his eyes at the opera. There he could keep observing and drawing the lessons and rehearsals. He sketched the Petits Rats as they practiced their steps. Occasionally he showed the mothers and big sisters waiting on the sidelines, maybe reading a newspaper. Among the Petits Rats he drew were his two sisters, Suzanne and Blanche Monte. Many years later, Suzanne remembered him fondly as a quiet, kind old man who wore blue spectacles. Others thought Degas was cranky and interested in only art. Degas admired the choreographer Jules Perrault and portrayed him in two versions of the dance class. In one, he included a watering can, used in those days to sprinkle water on the wood floor so that the ballerinas would not slip. Degas featured a watering can in another painting, Dancers Practicing at the Bar. He gave this one to his friend Henri Raunt. Degas had given Raunt a different picture, a pastel, but took it back to make it better. However, Degas reworked that picture so much he wound up spoiling it. In exchange, he gave Raunt dancers practicing at the bar. Yet Degas was not satisfied with that one either. Decidedly, that watering can is idiotic, he said. I really must get rid of it. But the story goes that Raunt demanded to hold on to it as a gift and chained the painting to the wall so that Degas could not remove it. He felt a work could never be called finished, remembered Degas' friend, the poet Paul Valéry. Degas was a perfectionist. Degas preferred giving his pictures to friends rather than selling them. Nevertheless, when he needed money, he sold some of his work through some of his dealers. By the time Degas was 50, many important collectors competed to buy his ballet paintings and drawings. When your eyes are trained on those leaping figures, they all come to life, wrote a critic. You can almost hear the dancing mistress. Heels forward. Hold up your wrists. In the late 1870s, Degas worked more and more with pastels rather than painting in oils. He loved using the colored chalks because he could combine colored areas of color with line. With his fingers, he blended vivid tones of blue-green, peach, and orange in the skirts of the swaying dancer. Then, with a dedicated line, he picked out details, the ruffles of the dancer's tutu, the shape of her leg, and outline of her toe shoe. He described pastels as the powder of a butterfly's wing. He experimented by mixing pastels with charcoal and tempera paint and bleaching his drawings in sunlight to lighten and soften the colors. Sometimes he blew steam over the paper to make the drawings look smeared. When Degas was not working in his studio, he went to the opera to observe. He still wanted to show the Petits Rats training to become ballerinas. He admired their dedication. Degas wrote a poem called Little Dancer that began, "Dance, winged scamp, dance on the wooden lawns, love that, love only that, let dancing be your light." Once or twice a year, at the age of 10 or 11, the girls took an exam. This was the most terrifying day of the whole year, recalled Suzanne Monte. The girls had to perform all alone on an empty stage, accompanied by a pianist. Their teachers, mother, and ballet master sat in the front row of the opera, watching. Only the girls who did well were promoted. Even after years of painting the Petits Rats, Degas had never attended an exam. When he finally did, he took notes. "It is the age when dancing is pretty," he scribbled. The jury clapped frequently. In two of his drawings, Degas portrayed the moments just before the test. Dance examination pictures a mother fluffing out her daughter's skirt as a girl pulls up her stocking. In waiting, a dancer who has not had her turn yet sits slumped on a bench beside her mother or chaperone, who stares dully at an umbrella. Degas noticed everything. He understood that ballerinas jitters as they got ready to go on stage. But he also captured the thrill of a successful performance. During the late 1880s, Degas realized that his eyes were getting weaker. To save his eyes for artwork, he wrote letters with his eyes half closed and examined drawings with a magnifying glass. For his drawings, he used black crayon and charcoal instead of pencil because the marks they made were easier on his eyes. He found it harder to see outlines, so his pastels from this time look fuzzy and abstract. Despite his difficulties, he was eager to work. "I still dream of projects," he wrote. One day, when Degas could not see well enough to draw or paint, he modeled figures with wax, as he had done early on in his career. Once, when his model, Pauline, was posing for him, she got tired of standing on one foot and needed a rest. While she stood near the stove warming herself, she asked Degas to teach her the tune he had been singing. "Of course, my girl," he said. "I'll sing it for you." As Degas sang, he made little bows and danced a few steps, and Pauline laughed, returning the bow. Degas seemed quite happy, she remembered. He did his last dance drawing, Russian Dancers, from 1899 to 1905, when he was in his late 60s. The drawings show the dancers gaily kicking up their heels in their red boots. In his art, Degas captured the joy of the dance for all time. The Petits Rats lived in his drawings and painted forever, and even today, dancers recognize themselves in his work. "Drawing," Degas once said, "is not what one sees, but what one can make others see." The end. Hope you guys enjoyed the story. It was very long, but I think his artwork is so beautiful. One of my favorite ones is, of course, this is titled Swaying Dancer or Dancer in Green. And I think this is beautiful. But he does incredible work. Well, did incredible work. But thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.